think she wrote a book about it or some shit. So.
Who's the other one that works? She does
In Nebraska?
no, she's at Iowa.
We're live?
I gotta put this on?
Yep. Do an Instagram.
This chair is distracting me. Yeah, and we have literally no plan for this, so we're just gonna talk crap.
Just gonna roll with it.
Surprise, folks. We're live. We're doing a podcast, and we didn't give you guys any forewarning. We didn't have any forewarning. We don't really have a topic, but we're on YouTube right now, so, you know, it's 2:15 Eastern Time on a Thursday. I mean, I know y'all don't want to work, so you might as well just tune in. We got Caleb.
Hola.
We got Mike. And we got Clay. And we're just going to talk about stuff. So, yeah, tune in. I guess we'll put a link in the bio. You guys know how this goes.
Yeah.
See you there.
I'm trying to find it right now. Here she is.
Who?
Share the link.
Oh.
Copy link.
Does she live in Nebraska?
Clay, Mike.
I'm stealing a picture off Mike's Instagram right now to
Do you want a good one?
just give
What do
me
you
a good
want? I'll
just
text you one.
give me a good one to put in the thing.
I'll give you my best one, and I can give the listeners the tip to making it big,
Okay, I like that idea.
like real big.
It's called,
Making
it's called that 16 to 35.
yes.
Let's see. Yeah. You want a picture of me or
Yes.
just a picture that I shot?
You.
All right, hang on.
I think you need the one of you leaned up against that post.
Hang on. No, this one's pretty dang good. Caleb won't share it, but I'm going to send it to him.
Wait, I want it too.
I just airdropped it to you.
Oh God.
Oh, man.
Can't hear myself.
You can't hear yourself? Well, you're turned way down. For
Oh,
one.
that's a good one.
Yeah, there is a red thing on yours. Why is that? What does that mean? What is the little red light over?
Cole Belky.
I don't know.
Talk to me, Clay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I don't have anything from Clay.
Is she in Nebraska?
No,
Channels.
she's Iowa.
Channel 4.
I don't know her. There's one in Nebraska.
She takes good
photos.
Advanced.
When I walk through the park. Da, da, da.
Microphone condenser. Talk to me now.
Oh, chicka bow bow. I can hear myself now.
There we go.
I am hot.
There we go. That's what was wrong.
What fixed it?
I went into the mics and he was set to a condenser mic.
Can you turn me down for what I can hear a bit, please?
Turn you what down? Turn
What I can hear. Number 4.
better.
No, too much.
Right there.
1. Keep going. Keep going.
Keep going.
That's good. Thank you.
Okay.
Ba-da-da-da-da.
What's the other one? I only got one from you. Oh, oh yeah.
Are we live
Just wanted me to
Yeah.
look at
Yes,
you.
we're live.
on YouTube?
Yes. I'm trying to. I'm putting up the thing right now. I have
Hey,
to.
boys and girls. Redneck Tech
I
Podcast.
have to get rid of the thing that Mike just sent me though. It's haunting me at the moment.
That's a pretty awesome picture. It's some good work by my buddy John.
Why is this
Why do we still have the autofocus
here text?
square on the camera?
I just have to hit info.
Oh, just hit info. Yeah, sorry.
You've already got fans, Mike.
Who does?
You,
What do you mean?
John McComas.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
says that you suck at photography, and he wants to know why we're wearing shirts. It's cold. It's a little chilly out here in North Georgia today, so
Is this how you feel every time I ask about your
yeah,
clothing being on?
yeah.
Now I know how it feels.
Nope. It's try it on the lens. Take the autofocus off the. Oh, there it is. It's gone.
Yeah, it takes it a minute to.
Yeah, it's gone now.
I don't know the answer to that.
So the answer to why we're wearing shirts is because it's a little cold
Okay,
in
I
North
just
Georgia
shared
today.
the link.
On
And
co-creative.
my mother is gonna get my little girl, so I don't have any time to.
Bazinga.
John says, "Just kidding. I love Mike."
You got
All
more
right.
fans than me officially.
Who does?
You.
Me? No.
So, I guess we'll just go ahead and roll into this thing. I mean,
Wait, do we need to?
We have no plan. There's no plan. None.
Shocker.
I like it.
I mean, that's kind of how I show up in your guys' lives, anyways, is without a plan. So, what are you guys
Well,
doing today? I'm coming
so-
through Georgia.
So this is what happened
Hold
today.
on. Let's start the
Oh.
pod. Let's start the podcast. Let's start the podcast. Time out.
The Redneck Tech Podcast is brought to you by Diamondback Covers, the absolute best cover you could ever spend your money on. If you need an insurance policy for all the expensive gear on the back of your truck, then you need a Diamondback cover. Make the bed of your truck a vault with Diamondback.
Right here. Right here. Right here. Right here. Yeah. You want it? Yeah. Welcome back, Redneck Tech Podcast. This is going to be number 114. We are with Mike Hearne. Mike was here for our class. When was that class? August?
Mm-hmm.
Ryder, tell us how this podcast came about. I mean, tons of planning and
Yeah.
thought went into this.
So this morning I woke up, it was a little chilly, and I went for a bike ride. And as soon as I got back from the bike ride, I hopped in a nice warm shower. And I like to take my phone in the shower so I can play some music. And as soon as I got in the shower, Mike calls me up and says, "Hey, what are y'all doing today?" And I said, "Well, we're going to be in the office. We're just chilling. We're editing, doing what we do." And he says, I'm coming by. Let's have lunch." So Mike just showed up, and we had lunch about, 30 minutes ago up at Gustavo's, had some pizza.
Gustavo's.
And now we're here. But I think also what that goes to show, one of the things that Caleb told me before coming to work for him was that communication is key, and that
Oh, yeah, I
we
know where this
always
is
need
going.
to answer the phone. And I just wanted you to know, Caleb, that I was in the shower and I answered the phone.
Okay. Couple questions. Why was your phone in the shower?
I told you because I like to listen to music in there.
Oh, okay.
I just set it up on the ledge and listen to music.
Mike has a question.
He answered the phone, but he didn't answer the FaceTime request immediately. So,
And
Well,
that's where we started to go downhill.
Well, Mike was driving, and I just didn't want him to do anything unsafe.
that's true.
Yeah, I was just looking out for you, buddy.
This may never get posted.
Isn't it live?
Uh,
Is this live?
Yeah.
It's live.
yeah.
Say hello to the audience.
This
Hi, Mom.
podcast is rated R for nudity, sexual content, and foul language.
Well, you bring the former drill sergeant in. That's just what you're gonna get. Well, Mike, you're on your way to do the hunting recruitment project with our buddy Jamie Shira, who's also been on the podcast. So kind of tell us about what you're going to do and what that's all about, and kind of how you're kind of contributing to that whole project.
Yeah. So I saw when Jamie started the hunter recruitment project.
Is it hunting recruitment project or hunter recruitment project? I think it's hunter.
Hunter recruitment
Yeah.
project. Let's look. Well, anyways, I saw when they started, I liked the idea. So
Yeah.
every year, me with my limited time being active duty military and stuff, I try to take a new guy into the field with me. So I saw them starting this, and it's for adults. So the hunter recruitment project, they're taking adults into the field, which I think is super important.
Yeah.
It's cool to take a kid in the field, right? But if I have a kid and I'm not a hunter, and Clay takes my kid hunting, my kid might have the fire, but if I'm not going to take him hunting, the kid might not hunt again. Whereas,
Yeah.
if you take me hunting as a new hunter and I have children, and that fire, that want to go hunt gets
Yeah.
lit in me, I now am going to pass that on to my children.
Yeah.
And then hopefully my children will pass it on to their children. So I think recruiting adult hunters is a big and important part of hunter recruitment. I can't speak for Jamie, but that's what I see in the program from the outside looking in. So I said, any way I can help, guys, I'd love to help. I
Yeah.
really like the idea.
Jamie forgot to call us, so shame on you, Jamie, because this is actually one of the few weekends we would have been here. I know you love us, and I know you got a lot going on, but We would love to have been that came down and hung out and had a good time with everybody too. But, Jamie, we did a podcast with Jamie a while back. This is after we got back from Idaho, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll go find the episode number real quick.
Was it before or after? I think it was after. But anyway, that's kind of what Jamie said in the podcast. Is like he's been looking for his way to. He's like, I'm not an influencer. I'm not a professional hunter. I'm not all these things. He's like, I'm trying to figure out what my place is to be able to give back to the industry. And I think he's found something that fits Jamie really well, which is putting on events, cooking, taking people hunting, being a almost a liaison in that whole space, because he's really good with people. I mean, you won't find anybody that doesn't like Jamie. I think it's a really cool project that, with the right people like yourself, like Jamie, like Baker, and some of the other guys that are involved, and some of the companies that are already getting involved that are trying to help and give products, and it's a great thing to be a part of. Mm-hmm. So you're going down there to take pictures and to probably essentially coach one of the new hunters.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So I'm gonna try to take a bunch of photos and then mentor some new hunters, and then I'm gonna do a class on how to find hunting access, because so this program kind of with the mentors and the weekend it gets them a good start. And then they've got classes planned throughout the week. They're gonna hunt, hopefully harvest an animal.
Yeah.
But after this weekend, where are they going to go? So if they want to hunt after this weekend, that's where I'm going to.
And access is by far the hardest part. I mean, it's like, talk about around here. Mm-hmm. There's tons of public land. It's not very good. But outside of public land, there's very few private options for anybody around here. First, nobody lets you hunt. And places you do find hunts astronomical for how much they want for it. So, and you hunt the Army base and everything where you're at, right?
Mm-hmm. So it's all public. I mean, I would say 95% of my hunting is do-it-yourself public land hunting. So that's what I've been doing for the last 12, 13 years, is trying to just tooth and claw my way into public land and figure it out. So
yeah, you killed a pretty good deer not too long ago.
I did kill a decent deer.
Heck yeah.
That was private land, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was private land. Yeah. And there's bigger deer on that private land. I just got excited.
Hey, well,
that'll happen.
That'll happen. So. Well, see, like it'd have been a perfect opportunity for us to go in there, because Ryer has hunted a lot behind a camera, but he's yet to shoot something himself.
I told Ryer when he was on his way back from, I think you were in Illinois with Greg. Mm-hmm. I told you to stop by, but you didn't.
I had to get back. I had to get back.
Our boss isn't very lenient on.
Oh, come on.
No, we did. I did have deadlines. I had to get back and get on some edits.
Yeah, we always talk about a time when we don't have a deadline, and it just hadn't happened yet.
There is. I don't think there's any such thing for
you
guys.
And the more we talk about it, the worse it gets. Like, I thought we were going to have, you guys are taking time off, which you need time off. I mean, we all do. But it's one of those things to where as soon as we get back, we've got 1,000 things. Like, it's about to start up editing season for us, which is the hardest time. Ryer got to experience it for the first time this year. It's a really, really long grind behind the computer, and you just are praying for turkey season because you're so ready to get out of the office, because you're staring at a computer for 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day, depending on your deadlines. And we're staring down the barrel of a bunch of big edits and the potential of more projects that are going to be even more edits. So it's one of those things to where it's, and that's something we kind of talked, which y'all talked about that a little bit on the podcast that I was writing in, is like getting out of the editing rut, or getting, how to find creativity. Yeah. I guess. Kind of, I guess we can talk about that a little bit with Mike, since we have no planning for this. What are some things that you do to, like, in terms of, like, taking pictures and images? Like, what do you look at for inspiration? Like, where do you kind of find your inspiration, creativity? Like, what's your outlet for that?
So mine's kind of all over the place. I would say for photos, and I've talked to Ryer about it, still life photos kill me. I hate them. I don't. One, you can get away with doing it with like a small table or something, but I don't have all the fancy studio equipment and stuff to do still lifes. And I can I've taken a few decent ones, but I just hate them. They don't motivate me. So the big thing I like is just any photography or any photos I take, I like to show action or tell a story with the one photo.
Yeah.
Right. So anything that's active really is what kind of inspires me. Like I've never been pheasant hunting, and about this time last year, as the normal hunting seasons die down, I went out with a buddy who's a guide on a pheasant preserve, and just going out there and shooting the dogs. And it's something I've never done before or shot before, but I had a blast doing it just because you can get so many different angles. You've got the dogs, you've got the hunters, you've got the dogs and the hunters. So
yeah, we've got a lady down the road. Her name's Anna. I doubt she'll listen to this, but she's big into the quail and the pheasant and just the upland birds, period. She did one of those blood origins. They did one of those about her. And she's from right here up the road, friend of mine. And
when you say up the road,
Claire,
is it like southern up the road, or is
Claremont? She's like 30 minutes from here.
Okay,
she's not that far. But
see, when you say up the road, what I think is like a couple blocks. Like if I say up the road, I'm talking the college right there.
Yeah,
like that's up the road to me, not 30 minutes away.
Oh,
that's like next town over or something.
I got you. Well, no, 30 minutes or so. But she's big into that. And see, I've done a few of those, filmed them. And I want a chance. I want a trip to where we just get to take pictures.
Me
That's
too.
all we do. Is we got hired to be photographers. Like we don't even touch a video camera. And I
want to do that for a hunt. Like we got to do that in the dunes with Brock. Well, I did, and you were.
I was there.
Yeah. And that was really fun.
Shows you how much he paid attention. I was there. He didn't remember I was there. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. But that was really fun, for sure. And that kind of made me think about, hey, I wonder if I could do that for a hunt. And because, like, you almost never get to do all of the action photos.
You get to take quite a few with Greg, though.
Yeah. But it's just not the same as getting them, like, while they're happening.
Yeah.
You know? And just being able to get, like, a hunter and an animal in the same picture. And get, like,
like Jay
I don't get hunting. I don't get animal pictures almost ever.
Yeah.
Because if there's an animal there, I got a video camera.
When I was with Dudley in Utah, he had his one buddy there that was in the armed forces taking photos for him. Jackalope Pat is what I think his name is on Instagram. And some of the photos he was getting, I was filming, and then he was doing photos, so I didn't have to do them, which was nice. But some of the photos that he got, or some things like I don't even remember that happened.
Yeah.
Like pictures of an elk in the back. He was at a wallow, and Dudley and I behind him, like trying to sneak into the elk and stuff. It was really cool.
See, that's what Jay Byer with Sitka. That's all he's ever done is he's just a photo guy.
Stephen Drake,
and then my buddy Daniel Peoples, they've got to do that a bunch. You know, just be the photographer on a hunt. And I'm like,
that would be awesome.
I want that gig one time. It's not that I don't like the video part. It's just the video part. Oh, it's so much more. Being a photographer, like no offense to photographers, is so much easier.
Well, I think there's a level of just like when I do photography, I know that, like you said, you're focusing on that one picture at that time. And when you're doing video, like I have 15 different train tracks running through my head, keeping track of like, okay, I need to be thinking about this shot right here, but how does this shot tie into this shot? And how do those shots fit into this sequence? And how does this sequence fit into the story?
Yeah.
And how does this story fit into the larger hunt? Does this go with what we're doing? Do I need to get other shots? Do I have the shots I need?
Take the picture, it's done. That's it.
Yeah, there's like a million things running through my head. So I like doing photography because it's almost like you just get to focus solely into that one moment, and you don't have to think about all the other things.
Yeah.
And like to me, that's almost like you've said. It's almost a little therapeutic.
Well, yeah, it's you can just focus on. It's kind of like what we talked about. I think we talked about in the last podcast when, like Drew, we brought Drew in on for Blue Stem, and he just was there to do pretty stuff. It's like doing that just with the stills camera. You know, you're just looking for ways to tell a story, like Mike said, in one image, and it's not easy to tell a story in one image. I'm not saying taking pictures and being a photographer is easy, but when you compare that to like one shot with a picture camera, that's 10 shots a well-produced video clip, that tells that same story. Whereas, that's literally getting your settings right, getting the framing right, pushing the button, you're done, versus 10 of those put into an editing software, edited, colored, and everything else. I mean, it's you're not comparing apples to apples.
Right.
But, like, I don't know, maybe, and I don't care who answers this, just like, what's the in your mind, what's the process difference between taking a picture and shooting say you're running around, you're chasing Dudley, and you're taking pictures for him, and you're just being a photographer. What would be your difference in mindset between you're the video guy and you're the photo guy? What's the difference?
Photo guy would be more product oriented than I would environmental, and Dudley hunting oriented.
Yeah.
Because he has so many people that he works with that need images and things like that, and he needs images.
Okay, well, let's say maybe Dudley's not a good example. Let's just say we're
like us three are on a hunt.
Well, no, we're just following some random person hunting when we're just taking pictures for fun. What would be your focus?
Well, even for me still, like this elk season, I mean, I was originally I was gonna try to get a bunch of film for Black Rifle, and then permits fell through, and then my camera mic port quit working.
You asked for permits. That's half your problem.
They need permit. They said they wanted permits.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So it turned into a photo essay because my mic jack crapped the bed on us.
Which doesn't make any
I
sense.
remember
You can go take pictures there, but you can't take video there. Is that not bull crap? It's so stupid.
But for me, like out there, it wasn't really like every time I was shooting a photo, I wasn't shooting the photo with, they're going to like this in mind. I was taking the photos I kind of wanted to take.
Yeah.
But for me, still in hunting, right, you're still trying to, even if you're not sponsored, like I have 0 sponsors. Nobody, I get paid for some photography, but it's not hunting related.
Mike is #unsponsored.
#unsponsored.
Real raw.
But I still like Kafaru. I like their packs. So I want to highlight that product. So, and tell the story of how that product helps us or how we use that product to be successful out there in the woods or one big thing I like in this is completely off the topic of hunting, but is just showing the suck, right? I took a bunch of pictures when it started snowing and raining, and I knew my camera was going into the shop anyways. So when the rain turned to snow, I pulled my camera out, and I was like, yeah, it might get jacked up, but it's going to get fixed anyways as soon as this trip's over, so I don't care. So I just started shooting, trying to capture my 2 buddies' faces just miserable. We were already soaked by the rain. The rain turned into snow, like it just was going downhill fast.
Me at the beach. Yeah, that'd be me at the beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, one of my favorite pictures I got of 2 pictures of you on the first hunt that we ever went on together.
One in Idaho? Or
yeah,
no,
with Mark, and then
Wyoming,
when Chris was there for a day or 2. And I got, the reason I just thought of these is because I was going through all like pictures I had looking for embarrassing pictures of you yesterday for the Redneck tech story.
Appreciate that.
I put good ones in there.
I know you did.
I got you. But there's one that you could just like, you just have this look on your face because you had just climbed up this hill. You're pissed that we weren't hearing bugles or they were across the hill and that we're just not in elk. And I just got this picture. And, like, technically, the picture is blurry. The exposure is off. Like, if you were to look at it from a technical standpoint, it's not, like, a perfect image. But your face being just madder than hell and just in the suck made that picture, like, one that just sticks in my mind. And then I got another one where you're sitting on a rock. And if you look at the picture, you wouldn't know, but I knew that you were sitting there because you were freaking tired.
Yeah, I was
like
really
you were tired, and so
it's almost
to
like
me, I liked that picture because I could tell almost in your posture like how tired you were.
Yeah.
But sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, and that's
segue.
one thing. That's one thing I do like, especially on backcountry hunts. Or I think about it all the time because I've done a bunch of stuff in the military, a bunch of relatively hard stuff in the military, and if there was one thing I could go back and do is probably pick up a camera earlier in life. Like I spent well over 30 months in Afghanistan, and to be able to have a camera over there, like I feel like even I'm not the best photographer. I'm amateur at best, right? But I feel like I probably could have captured, just because of where I was and what was going on. I would have been in the position to take some friggin' like Nat Geo level, just badass photos that I'll never be able to go back and do that again now.
Is that something you could have done while you were over there in Afghanistan?
It's actually, well, I could have done it, but there's a job in the Army. So you can literally be a combat camera guy.
Yo, I like that.
That's honestly,
you won't even jump out of an airplane, but you'll go into combat?
You ain't. He's not.
Yeah, he's changed his
That-
tune
no,
now.
I like that. I like the idea.
We were gonna go skydiving for our Christmas party, but
Clay's
Clay's a whip.
Really?
No,
Really?
no.
You could just have some dude strap you to his chest and go.
No.
Ryer's
Look.
really mad about it.
Look, guys, you're gonna figure out real quick that there's a reason they keep me around, and it's because I'm willing to do the dumb things. Like they could say, "Hey, Ryer, take this camera, and we want you to do something very dangerous and precarious about it." And be like, "Hell yeah, let's get her done."
I've always wanted to go skydiving. Like, it's bucket list for me. I've never been. I want to go real
Clay
bad.
can watch from the freaking ground.
Okay. I will go and I will cheer y'all on to the best of my abilities. But I'll go up in the plane with you. But I'm not jumping out.
Why not?
Planes have wheels for a reason. Why would you jump out?
You could do it. You can do it. I got faith.
Chuck Belmore jumped out of an airplane. You can jump out of an
Good
airplane.
job,
Chuck did.
Chuck.
Where's the video?
Thank you.
I don't remember when he did it.
Was this before
But,
GoPros
no,
or
it's one of the
something?
better stories. Like, I'll tell the abbreviated version, but essentially he said they're going through this is back when you could still go out solo, like your first time going.
Oh.
I'm assuming you still can now, but it's a lot harder to do. But he said that
Probably a few places.
they're going through the like orientation or whatever, and he's like somebody in this class will not pull their string or whatever, or won't pull their chute. He's like, it'll be like sensory overload, and you will completely forget. And he's like, this is the hand signal to do it, blah blah blah. And Chuck's like, what idiot is not going to remember to pull their chute? Chuck Turns out it was him. He said he's flying. He's like, man, I'm scared to death. I get to flying. He's like, man, this is awesome. He's like, the instructor's out there flying in front of me. He's like, I'm like, yeah. And he's like, the guy's like doing the signal. He's like, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. And he's like, pull the chute. And he said, I'm like, no, I'm good. He's like, completely forgot. He said he flew over there to me and jerked my thing off. And he's like, and I took off. And he said, yeah.
He said, probably stressed
he said,
heck out.
He said, dude, I'd have rode it all the way to the ground. He said, I never thought one time about pulling my chute. I'm like, how do you, like, and maybe you can explain it, because I'm thinking the same thing. How do you not, like, I'm going to have my hand on that sucker ready. Like,
Caleb's jumping out like this.
I am.
He's like, I'm not. We're not taking any chances.
You can't do that because you'll probably spin circles the whole way. But it's like, I don't see how I could forget the one thing that's going to keep me alive. Like, I just don't see that.
Yeah. I don't know. I never done any free fall.
Really?
All of my
Static
line?
jump is static line. So it's a delivery system. We are getting delivered like cargo to combat.
It's a delivery. I've never heard it put like
No,
that.
it is. It's not parachuting like you're still jumping out of an airplane, right? But training jumps are at like up to 1,200 feet above ground level, right? Combat jumps, you're really doing it about 500 feet above ground level.
Oh, dang, that's low.
You're getting delivered.
Yeah.
And
You're getting delivered.
Like, it's get in and load
Amazon
your
to
gun
the door.
and go. But
Are the landings pretty rough on those?
you hit like
I've
a
heard-
sack of,
I've heard the landings are rough.
Like 15-ish miles
Dude,
an hour.
I
as you
watched
hit
the
ground.
dudes at Benning hit the ground,
Yeah.
dude, and they
Oh.
bounce when they hit, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's for airborne schools. That's fun watching those guys.
Dude, some of those guys were eating it when they hit the ground, dude.
I'd do it.
And then when they hit the ground, if it's a windy day or it's a windier day,
Oh,
their chutes pick up, right? And you'll see dudes. So part of your training at airborne school is they're dragging somebody on a sled, and you got to run and jump on them and pop their canopy release assembly, so the chute doesn't stay inflated, and one of the canopy, the harness that goes to the canopy will go flying, so only half the canopy will be there, and that'll let the canopy get deflated. So. But you run and jump on the guy. They're dragging him on a sled. And you got to run, jump on him, and then pop him. And there's a bunch of people pulling him on a sled. It's pretty fun.
Dude, I felt so bad. Like, we used to film.
is there not a way to do that yourself? Like, if you're being dragged?
You do. That's,
But just in case.
You practice it. But there's guys, I've seen it happen multiple times.
They just get so tangled up they
No,
can't.
they hit the ground, they hit the back of their head and get knocked out. And
Oh.
they're just out cold and getting drugged and just limp through a giant field.
Dude, we went and watched or filmed Best Ranger competition. We did that live stream. I felt so bad for those guys. Like, we're on golf carts with, like, snacks and food, like, following these guys that they're doing, like, an 18-mile ruck march, just hating life. And we're freaking cameras in their faces.
Eating snacks.
Hey, slow down on the golf cart just a little bit. They're not being able to keep up. It's like, don't let this guy find us after this competition's over, because he will kill every one of us. Dude, and I mean, I just felt so, like, I'll never forget it. This is the first time we ever did it. We were on some road on Benning, some godforsaken middle of nowhere road, and they're on the first march for the first morning. It's like an unknown distance march, and essentially it's to weed out the field. It's like 18 miles long or whatever. They got to carry their rifle. They don't have a ruck on, and they're just wearing, whatever their standard attire is, boots, carrying their rifle, and no pack whatsoever, I don't think. And there's this big guy, and he's like, I don't know what you remember or what your term is, but we call it galded or like chafed really, really bad.
Yeah, chafed.
So bad to where he's walking so bow-legged because he's like bleeding. He's chafed so bad, and he's like he won't quit. And his guy that's with him, it's a 2-man team, is like kind of standing there walking next to him, just like, man. We're so far behind, and they had to like medically pull that guy out because of like how bad he was galded and like chafed.
Are there consequences for quitting?
Not Best Ranger, no. So Best
okay.
Ranger, all the units in the Army, to include special operations, as long as you're Ranger qualified, they literally do tryouts.
Yeah,
and then they get 2 to 3 2-man teams, because it's a 2-man team that competes per unit. And those 2 to 3 2-man teams will do nothing for that year, usually, but train for Best Ranger.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know
like
that.
Once you're selected it's like the Best Ranger is kind of like the Olympics for people with Ranger tabs. So,
yeah. Well, I knew it was a big deal, but I thought they were just regular dudes that
They are.
you two guys have done the best this year. You're going to go compete.
Mm-hmm. Well, so units are competitive. Like the 82nd Airborne Division wants to win, right?
Yeah.
So they will give those guys some extra time to train. Now, some units don't. Like the last unit I was in, and the unit I'm going back to out in Fort Carson, they're not too into manly stuff like that. So
Really?
yeah, it's a different kind of unit.
Huh.
We won't go down that rabbit hole.
I just know, like, I'll never forget. It was like the first or second year. Because I remember, like, the third day, they're doing, like, clearing rooms, and those guys are so toasted. Like, they're kind of, like, going through clearing rooms. They're like, clear. Like, those dudes are, like, holding on by a thread. And it pays to be first because the guys, like, are leading. They get more rest than everybody else. And, like, those guys are just, like, falling out and, like, trying to keep their feet, taped up and everything. And I'm like, these are some hard. And we did 12-hour shifts, and I'm like, at the end of the 12-hour shift, like, oh, this camera's so heavy. And those guys have been running for 12 solid hours. Oh,
well,
man.
there's the one story you tell. You guys are on the golf cart, and they're supposed to be following you.
Oh,
And
God.
if y'all were supposed to go one way, and
Yeah.
if you went the other, it was going to add like 7 miles.
Yeah, it was. We got to a T intersection, and we were in the golf cart. And it was the first night. So the first 24 hours, and correct me if I'm wrong, or it's the first 12 hours or whatever, essentially they're trying to get from like 50 teams down to 20.
Yeah, it's
They're
the
trying-
buddy run.
Yeah,
That's
the
it.
buddy
Yeah.
run. So they
Yeah.
get right there at night. It starts like right at dusky dark, and they just take off for another long run. They pretty much run the entire first 12, 24 hours, whatever it is, because they're trying to weed that field down from 50 to 20 or whatever. And they're running, dude, and they're freaking getting it. And we're on the golf cart, like in front of them, following them still. They still hate our guts. And I learned after the first year, you take the night shift, because the night shift is way easier to do than the day shift. Day shift is miserable because it's hot and there's no shade, and you're just out in the middle of Podunk, freaking South Georgia. So I did the night shift, and this is the first thing we had to do on night shift was follow this buddy run. And we're following them. We're like probably 2 miles in. There's a guy driving. There's a spotter. And then there's a guy on the back of the golf cart, and we have the camera set on a beanbag so you don't have to hold it, and it kind of takes the shock out of the golf cart. Because we were running EX3s with a night vision lens and a Fujinon long lens. So this thing weighed like 45 pounds. It was huge. So we would set it down on the beanbag, and follow these guys. And then when they get off or when they would like go around a turn and we'd stop, like we'd pick the camera up, put it on our shoulder and like follow individual people. And then we'd put it back down and keep going. Well, we've been running 2 or 3 miles and these leaders, dude, they haven't broke stride. Like they are freaking going. And there's probably 5 or 6 like 2-man teams that are way ahead of everybody else. And then we get to this T intersection and it's really well marked everywhere except this T intersection. Like it's left or right. There's no other options. And it gets there, and the driver, I'm pretty sure I'm on the back running camera. And he whispers to me, he's like, hey, dude, like, it doesn't say where to go. Like, it's a T intersection. We're, like, approaching it. And I'm like, thank God I was a little quick on my feet. And I'm like, just pull over and let them go by.
Yeah.
And I was like, we pull over, I get off and let them go by, and they get to that T intersection. And those front guys are like, which beeping way do we go? And they're like screaming, and I'm just like holding the camera like, please don't ask me. And there's this freaking car comes around the right turn, like flying. It's like a military issue F-150 or whatever the military, I don't remember what it was. He's like, go that way. So they turn and they go. Well, in that amount of time, it was probably 45 seconds. But that 45 seconds, those guys didn't know where to go. All those other people had caught them. Dude, they were freaking furious.
I bet.
And the guy in the truck is like, I didn't know where to tell him to go, and I wasn't going to tell him wrong. He's like, if you'd told him to go this way, it would have added like 6 miles to their run. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. And it was some like low-level guy that forgot to put the one sign up. Yeah. Dude, and he got chewed so bad. I'm sure. Because the guy that pulled up in the truck was like a high-ranking some dude. Because you can usually tell by just their age. You know, the high-ranking guys are always older than the younger guys. And this poor kid, he was getting freaking railed for not putting the one sign up. And it was a like dumb mistake. But it was one of those roads where if you knew Benning, you knew to go left. And I guess he just assumed to go left. But you can't assume anything. Assuming's gotten me in trouble a lot of times. But yeah, that's one I won't ever forget. And but so going back to the combat cameraman thing, so was that an option when you were in, or is that not something you knew, or when you were over there, or is that not something you knew about?
I knew about it, but I wasn't into.
You weren't into cameras then?
I wasn't into cameras or photography or storytelling. So I was like, oh, look at that nerd over there. Come take a picture of this nerd. Like, you know what I mean? I mean.
Well, that's funny because I took a photography class because I had to as an elective in high school, and I paid a kid to do my photos for me because I thought it was the stupidest thing ever.
Really?
Yeah. I hopefully, like, I mean, I'm not gonna get myself in trouble now, but I literally paid a kid to do my photos in photography class because I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. Huh. And look at me now.
Look at me now.
I took a photography class in high school solely because there was a dark room and also girls in that class. So I was like, seems like the elective to choose.
Yeah.
No, wait, middle school. It was middle school. And I remember vividly in my head, I took a picture of a baseball, rule of thirds AF, okay? Nailed the rule of thirds. It was a film picture. And she made me redevelop that freaking picture like 7 times in the dark room, and I got a B on it. In a photography class, a photography elective, I got a B.
And look at you now.
And look at me now.
Look at you now.
You know the only class I got a D in college?
Marketing.
I was A, B in every, well, I might have got 1 or 2 C's, but I was A, B, 1 or 2 C's my entire college career, except for marketing.
And here we are.
Look at you now.
Here we are.
Creating marketing materials.
And I remember that class was the dumbest. Like, that woman was a blooming idiot. She sent me to the dean's office for asking somebody next to me what page we were on because she said I was talking in class. I'm like, are we not in college? Like, what is going on here?
I'm still in high school.
Yeah. Oh, dude. And I was a freaking, like, junior. And I'm like, this is stupid.
I'm going home to drink. This is not what I signed up for.
Well, I think what it was, she was one of those professors that, like, you're not supposed to tell them you're a student athlete because they think you get special treatment, so then they're harder on you. And she knew I was a baseball player because I had to leave early from class for a game one day. Yeah, not a good thing. But
should have wore those tight pants to class. Probably would have got
she was
extra credit.
Man, she looked like a German Shepherd. You didn't want none of that. She was not attractive. Oh, you said you would go back and get a marketing degree. Why would you want to go back to school right now?
I don't know. I only have like 10 classes to get it.
Dude,
that's a lot of classes.
There's not enough.
Not to get a bachelor's, it's not.
Yeah, but you still have to take 10 classes.
That's 10 classes.
I took 8 this fall.
I took 0, and that was plenty for me.
You couldn't pay me to go back to school. Ain't no way. It doesn't. I mean, I don't know. Just there's literally nothing. I didn't take in high school, college, at all. I didn't take a single photography class, video class. Like, I don't even know if that was an option when I was in school. They have one now at North Georgia, but I don't know if they did when I was in school. And in high school, I know they didn't.
See, the ones I took in college, I mean, I got, of the 16 I had to take, I got like 11 signed off on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So, I walked into a junior level videography class. Day one was, this is how you put the SD card in and turn it on.
Man, I should have done that kind of stuff.
I said, I'm not playing this game.
Dang, man.
I'm one math class away from an associate's, and I don't think I'm going to do that math class. I hate math.
I get I think the sole reason that I'm sitting here doing this today is because I'm bad at math. If I was good at math, I'd probably be like in the Air Force somewhere.
I took college,
but I'm bad at math, and so here I am.
Yeah,
I took college algebra 4 times.
See, I was never really bad at anything. I mean, I didn't like any of them. But see, I can honestly say high school I never studied, not a single time. College, very little, if really at all. I was a great test taker, and I was a business major, and nothing we did was...
A lot of it's common sense.
A lot of it's common sense. A lot of it's just showing up and being on time. It's not hard. You know, it's like, these kids that can't pass college. And I know there's people that have learning disabilities, but like, dude, all you got to do is show up half the time. Now, if you want to be an engineer or a nurse or something like, or, biology or something like that, yeah, okay, I get that. But if you just want a degree, like, dude, it's not that hard. Like,
I looked at a biology degree.
That's what my wife has.
A lot of math.
Yeah.
No, sir, not doing it.
See, I didn't get the memo. I've always known I'm bad at math. And then to get like the ROTC scholarship, they're like, you just got to pick a technical major. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pick the easiest engineering. No engineering is easy, guys, first of all. But I was like, because I remember,
lesson learned.
So my dad was in the Air Force, and my dad was a civil engineer in the Air Force. But he was an enlisted civil engineer, which isn't, he's not doing engineering.
He's not
engineering. He's working on things.
He's a construction worker.
Yeah, but
he's a laborer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I saw that, and I was like, well, he did that, and like, I'm my father's son, and so like I could do civil engineering. And so I signed up for civil engineering, and I got there, and they were looking at all my math classes in high school and middle school, and I had gone to a school that was new, and they were still trying to figure out their curriculum. So I had taken some things 3 times and other things no times. Like, so I never got the full curriculum, and they were like, well, you're going to have to go into remedial math. I was so far behind in math, there wasn't even a class I could go to. I had to do it on a computer. Like, I had to do an online math course to, like, catch up. And so I tried to take this online math course, and, like, that's all good. Like, if you're fine at math, you can teach it to yourself. But if you're not good at math, I can't teach myself math.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So I went through that year and hated every single second of every math class. And I was like, if I can't even, like, figure out this, there's no way I'm getting through 4 years of actual engineering school.
Well, I got a business degree, a bachelor's of science in business, and I seriously can't tell you a single thing that I use and put into practice today. Couldn't tell you a single thing.
And your finance tax stuff?
Oh, no, that was non-existent.
Oh.
We didn't have a class that taught that in accounting. Let's just say the little girl in front of me got me through accounting, because that was so like that made zero sense to me. That did not compute in my head.
Accounting was one of my favorite subjects.
Oh my
in
God,
college,
I
yeah.
would rather blow.
Nerd.
This nerd over here with a camera and calculator.
Me, my name's Clayton. I like accounting.
Like, I couldn't have passed that class on my own to save my life. I would not have a degree now. Thank you, Jesus. I have a career and a job that doesn't require a college degree. Like, I don't think you don't need, I mean, you don't need it. Now, for some jobs, you probably do. This job, not even a little bit.
Well, I've had people ask me, like, when are you going to go, like, my family or my grandparents, people like that, and be like, well, what are your plans for going back to college? I was like, what am I going to go back to college for? And I'm like, well, shouldn't you get a degree? I said, no, because, one, I'm going to have to pay a stupid amount of money to get a piece of paper that shows that I can do what I do now. Like, all I have to do is be like, look at the things that I have made.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need a degree.
Yeah. No.
That's what people want to see.
Have you seen my Blue Stem timeline?
Yeah.
Just need a portfolio.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, it's the truth, and the photography is the same way. You know,
people want to see your work.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you have a.
And if you know when if we go to hire somebody else, like, I'm not gonna ask them where'd you get your degree. I don't care. I almost prefer them not to have a formal education in this, in a way, because for this job you needed to be a hunter first. You know, it makes it way easier for that transition. The great thing with you is you got to have all that experience with Mark first.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have came in just knowing how to run a camera, that would have been hard.
No, I mean, I've had this talk with you. I always feel kind of like a little bit of an imposter.
Yeah.
Because most guys who want to do what we do, like, grew up hunting, watched all the hunting shows, and they're just dying to do this because they grew up doing it their whole life. And, like, I had I wanted to hunt. But, like, it was kind of one of those things where you're like, well, maybe I'll get the opportunity someday, but I don't really know how to make that happen or anything. So I just got really lucky with the opportunity, and to have Mark be like, well, you don't know how to hunt, you don't know how to film, you don't know how to edit, but, like, you seem like you want to learn. And I was like, yeah, I want to learn, and being able to kind of learn all of those things at the same time.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know?
Yeah, no, that and then, you know, it's an opportunity that I know a lot of guys would love to have, but which we've ran into it so many times to where I've worked with people, tried to work with people that came from the film editing, post-production world that want to get into editing hunting stuff, and it's missing something. And it's that X factor of knowing the process of hunting. And that's something, I mean, you guys can say, you know, knowing how to hunt is something that, you know, I learned from the time I was old enough to walk, you know, with my dad, like how to walk, how to move, when not to move, but, you know, and then I've also had the opportunity to go with some really incredible outdoorsmen and hunters and learn from them, and I learn something new every year. And I'm not saying I'm a great hunter at all. I'm a average at best, but it's one of those things to where you get to hang around and be around people that this is what they eat, sleep, and breathe every day. And then you have to carry a camera. You have to be able to move and act and sound and smell like they do in order to be successful, because it's even harder when you have two people. Mm-hmm. But this profession it's so different and so weird. I think about that all the time. It's like when somebody asks me what I do for a living, and then when I don't have time to answer and somebody else will answer, they're like, oh, he goes hunting all the time. That's what they always say. He gets to hunt for a living. Yes and no. You know, it's something hard to explain. Then you tell them you have a production company, then they think you make, you know,
Movies.
Real estate commercials or movies. And then you tell them that you produce outdoor television, and if they don't watch outdoor television, they don't know what that is. They think you're going camping. You know, so it's such a
they didn't even know that exists.
Yeah.
Like, I've got that before, like, oh, they have hunting television shows?
People find out I live up here now, and they're like, oh, are you working on all those Hallmark movies they're making up there? And I'm like, yeah, furthest thing from it, bud.
Yeah. And like my mother-in-law didn't know there was channels just for hunting. Yeah. First show I ever edited aired on Pursuit, and we had like a little watch party with just family. She came over, she's like, there's channels just for hunting? Like, yeah, there's a couple of them actually, But it was just it's so foreign to most people because 10% of the population hunts.
Yeah.
Something like that. There's 330 million people, so that's 33 million people hunt. That's in the grand scheme of things not that many people. And out of that 33 million, how many are avid? 10% of that.
Yeah. That's probably that 33 million is probably people that have bought a license.
There's 3 million people out there that are like serious about it, and which I don't know. They say that the hunting numbers are going down, and there's the hunter recruitment project like you're going to help. I'm not seeing it.
Well, you look at all the Western draw odds, and they're taking tags away because they've been giving too many out.
Yeah.
Well, and they were saying numbers are going down, but I think there's a lot of stuff that are helping people get out there. But before we get off the topic of filming and you feeling like an imposter, I would probably argue that some of these people that are trying to, do this the hunting content and stuff, you've probably been on more hunts than they have just because of what you do. Like, you didn't pull the trigger, but you're still out there not getting busted. You're still hunting. You're just not the one pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
So you're gaining, like, you got more hunting experience this year than I did, even though I've been in the field probably just as much as you, but you've been in the field with different people for different species, different styles of hunting, from tree stands to spot and stalk to you know what I'm saying? So you're getting a ton of hunting experience.
When you finally get to like be the hunter yourself, you're going to be heads and shoulders above other people that are on their first hunt.
Well, and that's why I feel
already know.
I feel really blessed for 2 reasons.
#blessed.
#blessed.
Because through that opportunity and through me being able to do this for a living, I've found, like, both of these things were things I've never, like, if you would have asked me 7 years ago, me goes back into the past and was like, hey, Ryer, in 7 years, you're going to be living in Georgia and you're going to film hunts for a living and you're not going to be able to see yourself doing anything else. I've been like, all right, buddy. Okay. Yeah, that's what I didn't hear in there was flying planes. Where are the planes?
Where's the weed, old man?
Yeah. So, like, through, I don't know, sheer luck or whatever you want to attribute it to, I've been able to find a passion and a career path that I would have never been exposed to or never even thought about trying before, and found something that I want to do basically for, as long as I guess I can do it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, been able to realize that I can go hunting and to be, like, I remember Mark and I talking about this, like, because of doing this for a living, like, I've been able to get a mentorship that most people won't ever be able to have. And like you said, like a number and a breadth of experience that most people never get.
Well, you think about, just think about it like this. Let's say the average hunter, I think JP told me their average consumer at Bass Pro Shops hunts 3 weekends a year.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say they sit all day for all those sits. So 3 weekends, they sit in the woods 6 times a year. That's their average consumer. And I would venture to guess at least half, if not more, people go to Bass Pro for their stuff. So let's say there's a vast majority, 6 times a year. I think Nicole said I was gone for 135 days this year.
Mm-hmm.
Hunting probably 100 of those. 100 days. How many years of hunting experience do I have in 1 year over the average guy that sits 6 times a year?
Mm-hmm.
Or even the average guy that sits 30 days a year. I've hunted for over 3 years this year compared to the avid hunter.
Well,
Same thing with you. They probably sat those 3 weekends a year. 2 of them were for whitetails, and 1 of them was a dove hunt or ducks or something.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still out there actively hunting. You're
Yeah.
just not the one killing.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just kind of like what Mike said. Like, we've done this year, I've done several the subspecies of turkeys: elk, mule deer, whitetails,
Ducks,
waterfowl, antelope. What else?
bow fishing.
Bow
I guess
fishing.
it doesn't really count.
Bow fishing. And like what you did, you did offshore fishing. So you did 8 or 9, 10 species of hunting this year.
in a bunch of different states with a bunch of different people.
Most people won't do that in their entire life.
Nope.
Yeah.
You know, so it's something to where, and that's what I think. That's
it's crazy to think about that sometimes, because you got to just think of like how blessed all of us are to be able to
That's literally what I was about to say. Is like I
that.
I sit back and think sometimes it's like, no matter how much money I do or don't make doing this, you can't put a price on the places I've got to go, the people that I've got to meet. Hell, you got to have dinner with Joe Rogan this year. You got to freaking go to what's his name's house?
Ted Nugent's
house. You know, it's like you can't put a price on the places and people and things you've gotten to see. I can't put a price on that. You know, and if I had to pay out of my pocket to go on the hunts that I've got to go on this year, I couldn't afford it. You know, it's like stupid amounts of money, and then you stand there on the side of the mountain, you're like, I'm getting paid to be here right now. Doesn't suck.
Yeah.
And then, dude, I've wanted to shake some people sometimes. It's like I'll talk to somebody I went to high school with or something, and they work for a lineman or a construction company, or they're a teacher or something, and they're like, man, you don't get to hunt very much for yourself, do you? No, not that much. I mean, I couldn't give up my hunting time. So you would rather teach or be a lineman or something and hunt every weekend than hunt every single friggin' day, just not have the bow in your hand.
That's what my dad says. He's like, that's got to suck watching everybody go hunt. And I'm like, well, I'm being paid to be there. I don't have to pay for a taxidermist. I don't have to pay for a license. I don't have to pay for lodging or food or anything. I'm literally hunting, but it's not costing me anything.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
And I'll tell you guys, I was that guy, or there was a point in my hunting career where I was like, I don't know if I could ever do that or be that guy that, like, if I want to have the weapon in my hand. I want to be pursuing the animal. There's a competitive part of me that is a big fan of that, and that's probably why I don't do more with video. And I can't find anyone to film that I can film, and it's hard to film myself.
Yeah.
But now looking at it, I'm probably, if I'm being realistic, I'm not ever going to be rich, so I'm never going to get to hunt Dall sheep in Alaska.
Yeah.
But you know how I can go on a Dall sheep trip and get that experience. The only thing I'm not going to get is get to pull the trigger and bring a Dall sheep home. I can get that experience if I get someone to let me go up there with a camera and take photos or film it for them. And there's people that are willing to let you do that.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're willing to do it, like for me, right, I'm not Copeland creative, right? So there's people that would be willing to maybe give me a little bit of money for travel, and I cover the rest of my stuff, bring my own food, take care of myself. I'm still getting that experience, but I'm not getting it with a $20,000 price tag. I'm getting it with a $1,000 price tag.
It's all. I know you'll laugh at this, and Ryer will too. But like, this is my first year elk hunting, elk hunt I ever went on. I personally will not ever go spend my own money to kill an elk. I didn't like it that much, but I got to go do it before spending my money to figure out I didn't like it that much. So I'm probably fired after this podcast for saying that.
Maybe.
That's
doesn't seem correct.
There's not many critters there.
If we weren't live, Mike would have probably close hung me right then.
It's over. I'm breaking up with you officially.
No more.
Ryer, we're solo again.
Exclusive. It's exclusive.
The stress of having Clay intermingling in
You're
this.
outside the circle. You're over here.
Yeah, it's funny that we just had this conversation because I think it was 2 days ago I put up on Redneck Tech like a little post about basically all the things we just talked about. Like that even though, we're not the ones actually pulling the trigger and killing the animal, like I still get just as much pride and satisfaction out of being there, and I feel a lot of ownership in that hunt, even though I'm not the one who pulled the trigger.
So do I.
And I get excited, and for me, getting good footage and being able to tell that story and making a good edit and getting good photos and all that stuff, like to me, that's, and obviously Caleb can speak better to this because I have not killed an animal myself, but to me, like that is almost just as good as killing the animal.
It's a very close second. Yeah. It's really, And I say that it's a close second. I mean, I've been a part of several hunts. One in particular, I won't say what it is, that I got more out of it than the guy that killed. I got way more out of it, and it would have been. I think it's even more meaningful to me to have been there on that hunt behind the camera and been a part of it, and have that story to tell on video, and to my dad. Like my dad always wants to know like how that last hunt was, like what happened. He wants me to tell him the story, and get to essentially he gets to live vicariously through me because of that. But one in particular, and I'm sure I could think of several more, to where the hunt was so much more special to me than it was to the person that pulled the trigger. And would it have been even more special to pull the trigger? I don't know. It'd have been really tough to top. But it's a different experience. And it doesn't take away from the pressure. There's still pressure. I feel a lot of pressure. As soon as an animal comes in, I can feel myself shaking a little bit. I don't feel as much pressure with the animal as much anymore. I still do on elk and stuff, and like big stuff, like really big deer or any elk, because I just love elk. But like when we're on antelope hunts and mule deer hunts and bow fishing trips, like for the majority of stuff, like I feel no pressure when it comes to that, just because I've done it enough. I feel pressure now, especially owning the company and being kind of captain of the ship type thing, of making sure that we're getting all the things that we need to keep clients happy, to make sure that we're getting all the shots, shooting the interviews, especially like a big show with Greg. There's so many puzzle pieces to make sure we have all the puzzle pieces, to make sure people in the right places, we have gear, we have the best gear, we're updating things, we're doing the best job we can on editing, making sure we're meeting deadlines. Like that's where I feel the pressure. And that all comes down, that kind of even compounds when you're in camp on a hunt that's hard, that, if we don't get a kill, or this doesn't happen, or the weather doesn't get better, it's going to be harder on the client, which is going to put pressure on us, which it's just a compounding thing, to where that's the hardest part for me. The hunting part is I have to kind of step back sometimes and say, look at what you're getting to do, and you're getting paid to do it. Stop stressing, stop, trying to have a good time. That's why I love so much going with Billy and Chuck and those guys, just because there's no pressure on those trips. Like we just have a really good time. And there's pressure on other trips, but I have a good time with everybody. But it's the pressure of the hunt isn't there as much as the pressure of the overall project is what's bigger for me.
Yeah, I definitely
Blue Stem. Blue Stem's a perfect example. There was a ton of pressure around getting all that done in a short amount of time, trying to keep it to where we still make money at the end, and then getting the project out in a timely fashion.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't have probably as much of the like big picture project type view, but like every time I go to a hunt, like for me, I feel a lot of pressure, and I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I get like stressed about making sure that I'm getting and telling the best story that I can.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever like just show up on a shoot and just like throw the camera around.
Yeah. Because
for me, when I show up, like I suddenly feel this pressure, like, okay, I got to make this good.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to just make it.
Yeah.
I want to make it good. I want to try to make it better. I want to make something that will, like you said, please the client. Like I want to make sure they're happy with what we give them.
And that pressure,
and like
that pressure mounts too, because if you do one that's really good, then the next one you want to be better, and then you want the next one to be better, and the next one. And sometimes there's no way to make it better. Sometimes the trip sucks, the hunt sucks, the location sucks, the weather sucks. Sometimes there's just no way around it. But you still feel that pressure. Oh, 100%.
My pressure this year has come from, like, all of our clients know what you can do. All of our clients know what you can do. And this is my first year with all of them. So it's almost like going and making sure that this video isn't the worst one they've gotten. No. Well, really. I mean, really. Because, like,
making sure this isn't the worst one.
Well, really, because, like, they go on a shoot with you guys and they know what to expect.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to expect from me because they haven't worked with me yet. So making sure I at least, if not one up, which isn't possible, but at least do as well as what you guys do That way they're not dissatisfied or underwhelmed when they get it.
Yeah,
I feel that. Definitely like last year when I came in and I was sent with clients that you had worked with, like I had to do the same thing, like make sure I made something that was, as good as what Caleb made. Or
I was that guy at Sub 7 too when I first came in. You know, I was the 4th or 5th guy hired there, and I remember going on the first couple of shoots and like getting looked at like, who's this guy? You know, like
I got the where's Ryer. I never got who are you. I always got the where's Ryer.
I got the who are you, and because like that was one thing Sub 7 never did. They very rarely, like in my days, sent the same people. Like it was always a hodgepodge, which good and bad, because you know you got really well cross trained and you got to learn everybody. But you know you get that look from Craig Morgan on that first trip, like, does this guy know what he's doing? And I didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing.
No.
You would be correct. It's just like I was the guy that's like, I vomited out of the camera. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm just like, film everything, and then there'll be something to use out of this.
Hey, spray and pray, baby.
Dude,
Yeah, I got that this year. I fly to Dudley's and made a shop and everything. He goes, "Oh, you must be Clay," and I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, so you run camera," and I'm like, "Yep." He goes, "Do you hunt?" And I was like, "Yeah, I hunt." And he goes, "So we're not gonna have any issues." And I was like, no, we'll be fine. I've never mule deer hunted, but I mean, an animal's an animal. They all do the same thing. First day, we're getting up on this.
I don't know if I've heard this story yet.
We're getting up on this buck, and we're sneaking, and Jack's behind me taking photos, and then it's me and Dudley's in front of me, and Dudley's like turns around, and he goes, "Okay, we're 40 yards." And I was like, "Hey, you think you should knock an arrow?" And he stops and looks at me, dead in the eye, like loud voice. He goes, "Really, bro? Really?" He said, like, we're 40 yards from a buck, and he goes, "Really, bro? You said we weren't going to have any issues." And I was like, "Sorry, I didn't want to make sure you forgot."
Just looking out for you, Dad.
Well, he didn't know that you double as a guide, so which Caleb, you should charge more when you send him from
Exactly.
now on. I mean,
Exactly.
You're getting a guide,
Yeah.
and a good videographer.
Yeah.
Note to self: Dudley knows what he's doing.
Turns out.
Yeah, see, I don't give anybody advice. I just let him do the things, because like I don't really know. I don't know enough to even know.
Man, see, that's I don't like for Dudley. I definitely don't. And for Greg, like he knows what he's doing either. But which Greg also wants to, like, if you see a deer or something, you know, he wants you to help you, that kind of stuff. But like,
well, if I see a deer, which
I'm just saying, but like
obviously
what Mike's going to do, like with a new hunter, and you're a coach, you're a cheerleader, you're a babysitter, you're safety police, you're everything. Because when you go hunting with somebody and that they've never been before, I've had to film like contest winners. If you're watching the live stream, you see my air quotes. Contest winners. Nothing worse than filming a contest winner, because these people that win these contests are blooming freaking idiots.
That's why they won the contest.
That's
Dude,
what
I'm telling you.
Mark used to donate hunts to like banquets and stuff like that for his ranch, and you know, we'd go up to the truck and whatnot, and he'd say, you know, we'd be talking, and he'd go get on this topic, and he was like, "Yeah, the contest winners are the people who buy these hunts at auctions. It's always a cluster."
Oh, dude.
He said it's never been like somebody who you're like, "Oh, this guy knows what he's doing."
I did one. I've done one contest winner. It was the one in Alaska with a brown bear hunt where he knew what he was doing. Every other contest winner I've ever filmed, scared for your life all the time if they have a gun. Like dude, you don't like. I don't trust people with guns that I don't know. There's nobody worse on this planet than Chuck. Chuck, in terms of being scared, like Chuck's one of the best gun safety people in the world, is adamant about it. When he goes on hunts with somebody he doesn't know, like, he almost won't go on a gun hunt with somebody he doesn't know.
Really?
Freaks him out. Because, one of his buddies got shot on a hunt. He has almost been shot a couple times.
Mark got shot on a hunt.
So it's one of those things to where, like, in contest winners, dude, they're next level dumb.
Well, and there's probably there's a little bit of, if you're filming them, right?
Yeah.
There's pressure.
But there's been so many times I've been filming some contest winner or some marketing person for some company, and, dude, they don't know bear crap from apple butter. You're holding their hand through everything. You're having to call, you're having to spot, you're having to do everything and run camera. And then you get back and you're like, well, my footage sucks, but hey, dude killed his turkey. It's like, well, You had to do everything for him, and he's stoked out of his mind. You got the kill shot. That's pretty much all you got. Because to shoot cutaways, the guy don't even know how to hold the shotgun. Like, you have to like, no, don't do, no, just give it to me. Do like this. No. It's terrible. And you just like want to pull your hair out, but God bless you. You're going to do this new hunter thing.
Oh, yeah, but this is different. I'm not filming them.
Oh,
like,
that's true. Yeah.
Just laid back. And I think a lot of the people they're bringing probably have some weapon handling skills just from seeing their Instagram accounts and stuff.
Well, that's good.
And even with...
Did you scope them?
Yeah, but even with...
yeah.
And I don't know if Baker and them would choose people to come that would do anything
it is
crazy.
Baker.
Not gonna do what you think I'm gonna do.
But like, you hear guides talk about it all the time. Guides, I've got a couple buddies that guide out in Colorado, and they won't let people carry a gun with one in the chamber. And when I first started getting real serious about hunting, I was hearing these people talk about it. And that's a foreign concept to me, because if I'm carrying a gun, there's one in the chamber.
Yeah.
99.9% of the time. But my job and what I do and carrying we carry a gun every day.
The training that you have.
Yeah. So, but crazy stuff does happen with guns, and people do weird stuff when animals get in front of them and they get excited. And
I've had to talk a couple clients that we have now off cliffs that just lose it. I mean, lose it. And if you don't have your head on and you lose it when a big deer or a big elk or something stands out, dude, you're up the creek without a paddle.
Yeah, it's gonna end real fast.
Yeah. Well, anybody got anything else? We've been talking for an hour.
I think we brought it full circle.
Full circle.
Pretty good for not having any
Clay's out of the circle now with this sole elk comment.
Yeah,
we could talk. You guys could do a whole episode.
That
on
was
that.
Clay's last podcast, guys.
I was out of the circle when I was out of the circle when I asked Caleb when he hired me. So are we gonna do any fishing shows?
Yeah,
I was out.
I told him to bring them in, have all, and tell you make commission on them, and you could film them.
So were you pissed that I went to Florida and did the one fishing show that we had?
No, because I hadn't been hired yet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
I was about to say that was in May, wasn't it?
I forget.
I hadn't been hired yet, so I know.
Well, it was two separate
Y'all
trips.
can duke it out over the fishing shows. I'll not enter that fight.
Well, Ryer had a good idea. He'll go be on the boat, and I'll go put my scuba gear on and
I'm
get
down
in the
with that
water.
too.
Well, I've been thinking this summer I might go get scuba
Certified.
certificated.
Man, you've been living in North Georgia too long, buddy.
Just so that, because I would like to be able to film under the water.
See, getting the license is the cheap part. It's all the gear that's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could rent it.
Just hold your breath.
Yeah,
be fine.
Snorkel, bro.
Yeah.
It'll cost nothing to get snorkel
Just
certified.
get a really long
I'll certify you in the sink as soon as we're done. I'll make a certificate and everything.
I'll make a certificate and everything.
Only if it's out of crayon. I only want it out of crayon.
Hold on,
like,
he's got to do the Shark Week thing or the Shark Attack, where he just berates you for a good 20 minutes.
Well, if there's a sink involved, and maybe breathing or not breathing, then we can start to get into hazing. And apparently, that's frowned upon these days.
Yeah,
it's frowned upon in this establishment.
You can just get a really long snorkel.
Yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for coming, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Peace.